Good morning, afternoon. No, it's definitely afternoon now. It's Chris here from Havery Means Business. Hope you're doing amazingly well. I don't think we are live today because we're having trouble going live, but you're certainly watching this on catch up if you are, as I know a lot of people do. And we may be going live at some point in the future, Ash, yeah? Whenever that is.
I hope so.
So do I. Okay, no worries. But you can, as always, we are recording it, so you can watch it on catch up if you want to. We're going to start letting people into the room. Who have we got waiting? Rush, do you want to let some people in? First to join, and it's always a race at the start, is Fiona. How are you, Fiona?
I'm tired. How are you?
Tired? Yeah. Why are you tired?
Oh, just standard procedure. By a Friday, I'm usually really knackered.
So it's been a long week.
Yeah, it's been a long week. What about you? How have you been?
Good, really good, but same as you, really busy.
Yeah.
So, so today I've been working from home, and I've had loads of calls. I was saying to Kevin, I've had loads of calls from the office that I've been do not disturbing, so I can get on with a bit of study because I've got an exam on Tuesday.
Oh,
so,
another one.
Well, I mean, even though we've got the chartered status, I only need about 50 points to get to fellowship. Sorry, this could get really geeky, couldn't it, Fiona, very quickly? But I thought, why not just carry on? So I'm gonna. I've got 3 more to do. I'll just crack on them. I'll get them done in 2021, and then I've got nowhere to go. I can't do anything else apart from that. So
and you have a change of career then, yeah? And you do something else.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting, and again, I because of the work we do on the podcast and because of my interest in it, I've got an interest in psychology. And again, I think it does. Psychology certainly applies to business in a bunch of different ways. And somebody we interviewed for the podcast was a lady called Ruth Hughes. I mean, we interviewed her sort of back in 2019, who's a professor of positive psychology at the University of East London. Mm-hmm. So my next step academically, I might take a break, I haven't decided yet, is probably going to be a master's in positive psychology. That'll be my next step. But I might have a little rest between getting fellowship and going down that road. So, and part of that is because I think those principles, you can use those positive psychology principles in every aspect of your life. So I think they're going to be useful. One area, and I've just asked this on my personal Facebook page, is about feeling lucky. So Fiona, what aspect of your life do you feel most lucky about?
I think in a lot of respects, you make your own luck. In terms of what's happened to me out of the ordinary that's been of a positive pathway, that's a really difficult question. Really, really difficult. I think making the decision to get into financial advice and then meeting somebody who is part of the network that I'm part of, New Leaf.
Yeah.
And they introduced me to the CEO of that network, Mark Hobbs, and he's just been wonderful for me. He's just embraced me coming from the legal services side of things, you know, having no experience of financial services and into financial services, and championing me, encouraging me. He's just been amazing. So meeting him, I think.
You know what? It's really interesting. I think sometimes it's about the people you get to meet as opposed to the opportunities you get, isn't it?
Totally. You know, it's about the people for me, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it's what you make of the opportunities when you get them, most definitely.
Yeah. because how many opportunities pass us by without us taking the
So
chance?
many, and that's due to having the self-confidence and the foresight, which is very difficult to have. I think if you haven't got, well, you know, maturity behind you. I'm not saying oldness, maturity, and I think that really helps you see the bigger picture, and not everybody can do that in the stage of life that they're in. So
Yeah.
I think it all happened, it all conspired all at the same time to push me into the direction I'm currently in. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Sounds good. Right. Okay. That sounds good. And I like the idea of that, meeting people as an opportunity and as a lucky break. That sounds good to me. Christine, how are you? Oh, is she on?
I am on. Sorry. I had it off mute because it was quiet here, but then I had to ask my daughter something, so I put myself on mute and then forgot to take myself off. So no, I'm good. It's been a really good week. I was going to thank Simon Lewin and Glenn for giving me an opportunity to present to their construction group yesterday. So that's been my win of the week. I'm jumping ahead because I have to apologise. I need to leave early. Okay. So we did a really good presentation similar to what we did here on the HMB group with their guys. And yeah, it's hopefully going to result in some work. And yeah, it's been really good.
Because I know that Glenn has said to me offline before that in that sector they're amazing at certain stuff, but then other elements of their business gets neglected. And I'd imagine web stuff is part of that, isn't it?
Yeah. So we did a case study like we did, although when doing the one with our group was the first one. So what I should have done was actually pick somebody within the group, and then it becomes a bit more real. So we chose one of their group members yesterday, which obviously everybody else is familiar with. So when I went through that kind of, this is what you need to look at, it felt a bit more real. And then it kind of made them think, oh, actually, maybe we need help with our website as well. So
yeah, it's practical, isn't it? Yeah, that's it's just finding somebody who's prepared to volunteer for that.
Yeah. Well, then the conversation went on to that they're going to get other specialists in, and who else wants to be the guinea pigs for those things. So, but it's all good, isn't it? I know, and they seem a really nice, welcoming, friendly group. So, okay, you're putting yourself out there, and it feels a bit icky, maybe, but it's all good learning. So
yeah, 100%. And those, and I mean, we at Savello, we've done loads of peer group stuff and getting sort of other, financial planning firms around the table and learning from each other. And I think we always benefit from it. There's always an idea that comes up and we think actually we could learn from that and actually implement that within our business. So it's all worthwhile. Talk to me about your lucky breaks in life. What do you think what do you think you've been lucky at in that respect?
Again, I agree with Fiona. I think you make your own luck. I don't think it's about luck. I think it's about attitude. And it's about your determination to get certain things in life. So, I was very fortunate, and again, that's because we wanted to, was that straight after I did my degree, I worked for 9 months, and then I saved enough money to go travelling around the world for nearly 2 years. And that included working in Australia for nearly 9 months. And everyone's going, oh, you're so lucky. How do your parents afford it? It's like, well, they didn't. We did it.
I did it.
I did it. And so, it was a wonderful adventure, and that has kind of carried us through for, the rest of our lives, is that you make your own luck.
But I tell you what's interesting. I was having a chat with, I was at the Phil Fitzgibbon's boot camp. I'm doing that on a Saturday because that's the only time I actually get out and get to exercise. Actually, the gyms are open now, but Phil's boot camp has been amazing on a Saturday. And I was talking, as we have a, like, sort of the guys who attend it have a cup of tea after and chat and stuff like that. And we were talking, there was a couple of teachers there, and we were talking about education. And there was a particular teacher there who was a teacher in a school in Dagenham, who was saying that a lot of their kids, the challenge that they've got is their role models, because they're surrounded by people who are quite comfortable living in that sort of status quo of no employment, and it was interesting. But it goes back to Fiona's point, doesn't it? You need people to encourage you to expand. All of us do, not only kids who are grown. You need people to encourage you to expand your perceptions of life, right?
Yeah, and I think then on this journey, say like with this business now, it's taking the leap of faith to do Sorry, Lily, can you tell me? Lily? Sorry, my daughter's got her phone going on in the background. I'm going to go to headphones because she's done it a couple of times now. She's annoying me.
Oh, should we come back to you? No, you're back.
So starting on this journey, I think, you know, it's taken that leap of faith to do networking. You know, it was funny, Simon and I had a quick chat yesterday, Simon Lewin, and he said, oh, I remember our very first meeting, which was my very first meeting at the HDCI. And he came up to me and told me about building legacies. And our kind of joke is, what I said to him, what, you mean free? When he said he offered that business mentorship. And he said, yeah, free. I was like, okay, then yeah, I'm interested.
Free.
You know, it's free. It was free.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's expanded from there. So the people that we met there, and, you know, you were one of them, you know, going to the Queen's Theatre and meeting you there for the first time and expanding from there. So the luck has been that, going back to attitude, is that, you know, you put yourself out and then things come your way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, love that. All right, great stuff. Julie Bell, how are you?
Wonderful. How is everybody today?
I'm good. How's everybody else? Everybody else
Very
good?
indeed.
Yeah, all really good. Thank you.
Good stuff. Talk to me about your lucky breaks.
Well, this is sort of carrying on what everyone else said, really. I do agree with Fiona, with Christine. You make your own luck. We've all got choices. We all know what we can and can't do. We all know whether to take a risk or do anything. So I think it's very much, yeah.
You make your own luck.
100%. But one of my lucky breaks was getting out of my first marriage. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Fair enough. I don't know where to go with that. Cassie's probably watching, Julie, so I've got to be careful about what I say now. Why do you say that specifically, though?
Because we got married very young. We were together from school, and you don't listen to what your parents try to tell you. When you need the sense, you don't have it, do you? Because you think you know all the answers at a young age. And I think if I'd have stayed in that, I wouldn't be I'd have been squashed. I wouldn't have been me.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had the chance to be you as much as you wanted to.
No, and I think we just went our own separate ways, and it was like, do I leave or do I stay? And no, I
left.
Yes, yeah. Literally. Yeah. The clothes on my back and the clothes on my children's back, and I didn't look back either. Do you think that sometimes you've got to make those tough decisions to move forward? Yeah, listen, I didn't take the decision lightly. I'd got 2 small children. I was self-employed at the time.
Yeah.
And then I had to leave. Luckily, I had wonderful parents, but then I had to get a job. Luckily, I got a job in NatWest Bank. So back in the day, you used to get staff mortgages. But I did it on my own, my parents' support, and everything just seemed to, you know how they say things fall into place? So I knew it was the right thing to do. So when I look back now, I thought I was lucky I did that. Was it, or was it there, just waiting for me to take the leap?
Yeah. So, and the fact that you brought up a NatWest mortgage, my mortgage is nearly paid off, but it is an old NatWest mortgage. So when I used to work for NatWest, so
preferential rates, didn't you?
Well, I mean, our rate in the minute is pretty decent, as most mortgage rates are at the minute. But it was. Being a NatWest employee and having a NatWest mortgage was one of the things that helped me. So yeah, all good. Ian, how are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Chris.
Good stuff. And talk to me about your lucky break.
I'm afraid I'm going to follow Julie a little bit. It was both sad but good. It was a break that needed to be made, and that was my second marriage ending.
Who's gonna say the lucky break was the third marriage? Who's next?
But it was one of those bittersweet breakups. I learned a lot in that stage of my life. It was like 19 years where I personally grew so much, and part of that was because of my ex-wife. But because of how things change, you've got to read the writing on the wall and make the right decisions.
Yeah. And you say bittersweet. Do you think you're both better off being out of the relationship?
I can't really talk for her. If I'm going to be quite honest, I'm not better for being out of it. But I also will acknowledge to anyone who wants to know more detail in exactly how she helped me out. I mean, she got, and hopefully she felt support at the time, but I helped to get her, or encouraged her to get her NLP qualifications. And she's got a ILM level 5 coaching qualification. She's coached people into very senior positions at global companies. She's really good at what she does.
Yeah.
And I hope I had some kind of impact and helped her to get what she wanted. Yeah,
that's right. I think it's always good when you maintain that positive connection as well, if you can. I know it's not always possible. So yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ian. Kevin, talk to me about what you consider to be your lucky breaks.
Well, fortunately, no second or third marriages, mate.
Oh, just how was the fourth and fifth one, mate? Were they all right?
That's it. We're not there. We're not bad. No, it's on the first. Well, actually, my lucky breaks when, if you remember back, you were too young, but there's other people on here similar age. When you left school, it's get yourself a trade, you can do well. Well, I got myself a trade and done well, done further qualifications in it, but within 3 years, I had a hernia. And that's the best thing done. So the doctor said to me, unless you want to be back in hospital in 6 months, you're going to have to change your job. So I completely changed from what I was doing and went into office equipment. Because typewriters, bilingual equipment, went on to it, selling high commissions and embassies. And hopefully that's where a lot of my explanation and patience and listening skills grew, because that gave us a good career there. Until the Gulf War come in 91, then we had to change again. And I had a fortunate situation, and a broker who I was using at the time said, why don't you consider financial services? So the fun started then of going through various bits and pieces and went through all the examinations, which I have nothing but an admiration for you for the levels you're done. You're very good, mate. I've got to a certain level, I've done well, but I'm happy at that and a few years on me. Then really once I was in Aviva, sales manager was excellent. I saw an opportunity called Retirement Solutions, a new division, 6 people starting, which I always one of his top consultants. Only thing he knew I didn't like was working all evenings. Young family at the time, who's now 26. And he got to the stage, I'm not enjoying this, but I want to take this opportunity of doing what's now become lifetime mortgages. So
well, it's interesting, right? So we had one of our Savella in a Circle events earlier this week. Literally all I've done is spent my week with HMB members this week. It's been crazy. And one of the guys that I've known for, how long have I known Dave for? Probably about 10, 15, probably about 15 or 16 years, a guy called Dave Forsdyke, who now runs Knight Frank's equity release arm. Came along to Inner Circle. I've known him some time. He's a friend of mine, and funny enough, about 15 years ago, he was the only person I knew who was doing equity release, because that was before the big players came in, stuff like that. So it sounds like you've been doing it for how long have you been in that?
Well, we started in 98.
Yeah.
Like I said, in the circle, you've got probably two most experienced people in the country on extra release. We started Nightshade, and Aviva was the first company went in there as an insurance company, and we changed it from non-regulated to regulated within 2 years.
Yeah.
But there were 6 of us covering the country.
Yeah.
And our first potential meeting was in Wakefield. I'll never forget it. Built a hotel off the motorway. So it's good fun, but it was just tremendous days. It was being a bit young today, and for the first couple of years, it was just superb. Different, something unusual, brings something to life. Still a good product, still enjoyable. Main thing now is I'm completely independent.
Yeah.
It's not just one lender. So
well,
no, Dave, just he started off with FCA, didn't come across. So
he did.
Aware of him well. Yeah.
He did a lot of work with the FCA on professionalising that market actually. So it's at a place. But we'll talk. We'll hear a little bit about sort of what you're up to when you do your presentation a little later on. For now, let's talk to the room and see what's going on in their lives and businesses. Let's start with Fiona. Now, Fiona, I know you're tired today, but tell us why you're tired. Is it business? I hope it is, because otherwise I've dug myself a hole I'm never going to get out of. And what's going on in your world work-wise?
It is business. I've had a heavy networking week, very heavy. So usually it's this week of the month where I've got 5 networking meetings, plus HMB one today. I came to this one because I had a cancellation of a client. So, and I haven't been for ages to this one. So I thought I'd come and support Kevin.
Thank you.
So what else have I been doing? A couple of new clients. I've been taking a bit more time out, actually. I wanted to get a bit more sun. Want my dogs a bit more Fiona time, really. My son's left home now, so he immigrated last month to Israel, actually. So he's gone. I'm very much looking at his room to put my office in. Cool. So, one door closes.
So your son's gone permanently?
Yeah, that's it, gone.
And what made him move?
Of blood, sweat and tears, and now he's gone. You can tell I'm Jewish, can't you?
What made him make the choice?
He just felt stagnant here. And I think lockdown has had a lot to do with that. He's an IT engineer, and he's been an IT engineer since he left school. He went into an apprenticeship, which I must admit I helped him apply for. In fact, I did the application. He got the job though, so you can't take it away from him, can you? Yeah. So he was in this apprenticeship, and I think he got to a stage where he just had enough. He wanted to, because he hadn't done the student thing, he wanted to kind of spread his wings and do something socially for himself. And yeah, I think lockdown was just a nail in the coffin for him, really, sitting in a room on his own, speaking to clients all day. It's what I do, but not necessarily what a 23-year-old should be doing.
And I suppose, I mean, as you know, because we've spoken about it before, lockdown has certainly, for our financial planning business, made a lot of people think about what their future looks like. And we haven't got any 23-year-old clients because that's not the space that we work in, and probably you don't either.
I've got one.
Have you? Right. Okay. My youngest client is 36, so but done really well in business already, and it's quite a technical case actually because of his earnings and stuff like that. But certainly typically they're older clients. But lockdown's been a game changer from a perspective for everybody, hasn't it?
Definitely. I think you just have so much time to kind of focus on what you want. Had the pandemic not happened, what would I be doing? Treading water in a life that's so, it can be snuffed out at any given point. People want to get on with it. They want to do stuff. They want to plan. Loads of people want to make their wills. So yeah, I mean, it was the catalyst for him leaving, and actually I think we're thinking of moving home as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of stuff.
I had a bit of luck this week, Fiona, because I went back to the gym, and one of my gym mates had just bought a place down in Cornwall. So that was a week sorted for us in the summer. So I was like, I got a little holiday home let out of it. So yeah, all good.
I want to ask HMB's opinion actually. Do I sell my house undecorated and looking really quite shabby at the moment, or do I go ahead and decorate it all? What do you reckon? Votes, please. So hands up for undecorated. Okay, I get where it's going. Hands up for decorated. There you go.
I kind of guess it also depends how much you mean by decorated. If it's kitchen and bathroom are in a good condition, then it could just be a fresh lick of paint. If it's kitchen and bathroom need doing as well, then obviously that's a whole different undertaking financially, and whether you want to do that, and then what the market may be doing. It may be a new couple that wants a turnkey home, or it could be a building company that comes in and rips out everything that you've just done to try and make it
exactly.
Be cost effective.
Before this job, I was an estate agent.
Oh,
it's amazing what a coat of white paint does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think this is what my holiday is going to be.
So we're getting the paintbrush out over the summer, are we, Fiona?
Probably. Probably. Get me overalls on.
Good stuff. All right, great. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Just let's move on to Christine. Let's talk to Christine. Tell us about what your week's been work-wise. So I know you mentioned the webinar with the guys at East London Business Place. What else is happening for you?
Again, like Fiona, lots of a bit of networking, but also then the follow-up one-to-ones that you kind of then arrange with people to get to know them a bit better. So it's been a mixed bag, and then it's just trying to kind of crack on with the client work in between that. So it has been quite busy with the meetings. I've got to leave this one early, then I've got another meeting after that, and just squeezing things. But things like our usual Google My Business, doing website health checks, and then kind of putting the bits in place afterwards. I've sort of moved away. Cass is doing a bit of networking at the minute, but the only networking I do really is this. Talk to me about how you build the relationships with the right people. And I'll give you an example of what's going on in our world at the minute. So we've got somebody who wants to meet with me, who is a cryptocurrency expert. Now that for us is too speculative. It's not a space we're ever going to play with, right? So there's people who are really good, useful, professional connections we can make, and there's a collaborative piece of work we can do, and there's others who just want to sell to us and waste their time. Yeah.
How do you differentiate between the two when you're out and about networking?
I think you've got to go with your gut at the end of the day, and there might be some conversations that you think actually this is going to be a complete waste of time, and for whatever reason it turns out not to be. I mean, there's one client meeting that Tracy and I went into, and we just thought, you know what, this guy is going to push his services onto us. He's going to be blag 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 da 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 da. And he turned out to say, no, actually, I need help with my website as well. And we didn't think it was coming. Still a client now, and so I think yes, you go with your gut, but I also think you've got to keep an open mind, because it may be somebody trying to sell to you, but it may not be, and it may be something that opens a whole new doorway that you weren't expecting.
It's about. I mean, I suppose the other element of it is, and this is the bit that I struggle with, is I think you're right. I think you've got to be open to make the most of those opportunities, but there's a time cost to being too open, isn't there? And I just don't know where the balance lies correctly.
Like with your crypto guy, I know crypto is a bit of an unknown, but it does seem to be kind of growing, but with like any other financial product, it's a risk.
Yeah,
so it's a new risk. Why not have that conversation, get to know it a bit more, and again, it might not be something you're going to offer now. It may be something a bit further down the line, but you're starting to kind of learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Okay, I'm not ignoring crypto as an option for the future, and I think a decentralized currency is quite an interesting concept. But with the clients that I work with that have built their wealth over years, it's still too speculative at this point to take the risk. So will it be in the future? Who knows?
Maybe that's how you get your 30-year-olds into your books. You start them off with crypto, and then you end up doing other financial planning. I don't know.
You know what? I think my professional indemnity will go through the roof, Christine, if I start to do that. I mean that just having the conversation with the FCA saying, by the way, I've started a crypto business. I think they'd murder me, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see. Fiona,
it's not necessarily crypto business, but whether you can offer some advice, or that this guy that you know becomes a relationship where you point your clients towards.
Yeah, but again, I mean, Fiona has probably got an insight on this as well. But in our sector, it's just about those balance of risks as well. And some of the work we do, we've just got to say no to, because the balance of risk is just too much. Thoughts, Fiona?
I've met some crypto people. Okay, so there's people who dabble and people who know what they're doing, and people who know what they're doing with crypto are quite few and far between, because it's a real unknown quantity. The people who I have met, what they do for a job is in the holistic sector. So it's very much attached to holistic therapies. I'm not going to say any more on that, really, okay. But I just feel like for me to talk to somebody about cryptocurrency, they need to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And
they need to be a sophisticated investor, don't they? Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting one, because we have clients who have crypto assets, not assets we manage, but they've got crypto assets. And our take on it is, if you want a speculative pot of money,
it's a dabble, isn't it?
Yeah, if you want to dabble, speculative pot of money, fine. We'll manage all the core stuff. That means that it doesn't matter what that pot of money does.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can do what you need to with the rest. Because I think people do like a little play, don't they? That's the thing, and it's
yeah, they enjoy it. They seem to enjoy it. What worries me is that they base their whole world on that pot, and it's not the way to go. Not the way to go. It's not sensible, especially if their capacity for loss is teeny tiny.
Yeah. 90-10 is our typical rule. 90% evidence-based investing, 10% speculative. But it depends on a bunch of different factors. So yeah, Christine, in terms of, Fiona, the other thing I was going to talk to you about was, in terms of networking, how do you differentiate between those really useful conversations potentially and the ones that might be a little bit of a sell?
So I can spot a sell a mile off. I can sniff it like a fart in a lift, as Judge Rinder says, and I feel it in my gut, so I know that meeting ain't gonna take me very long. And that even goes as far as inbox messaging on LinkedIn. I can't bear it. I just can't bear it. I connect with somebody and then they go, "Hello, do you want to buy this?" And I'm like, "No." Block.
Yeah. But then they've damaged the relationship forever.
Totally. But in terms of meeting people who are useful, I think everybody is. So I like to chat, so I'll always chat. I'll chat to anyone, me. And yeah, like Ian says, you really don't know who you're going to meet, who they know. I think it's all valuable.
Yeah, spot on. All right, great stuff. So, Christine, talk to me about what's going on over the next couple of weeks work-wise for you. More of the same?
Yeah, more of the same. We've got quite a busy schedule coming in with meetings, and hopefully more projects to be getting into. So,
perfect. Sounds really good. Yeah, good stuff. Julie, let's do Ian first. Ian, talk to me about what's going on in your world work-wise.
I'm still on Website Central, but we're coming to the end of it. I'm starting to formulate the pages, just trying to get some handle around some of the graphics and how I want it to look. But most of the the book of words is there. So that's been a lot of what I've been doing. I have also picked up a new client, and this is kind of the wonderful world of networking. My last two clients, one has been in Yorkshire, this last one is in Cornwall. Would never have get that kind of exposure without virtual networking. So that's what it can do for you.
But the weird thing is, I mean, we typically, because the majority of our clients come from existing clients who refer, they can be anywhere. So, because we've got clients, I mean, typically our clients are around London, Hertfordshire, Essex, South East, and so are the people they refer. So it tends to be South East related, but not particularly local. The last 3 weeks, every new client I've had has come from Havering. And I don't know what's happened to like change that geographical mix. But yeah, it's been an interesting one. Talk to me about these clients and where they found you.
One was a referral from someone in the new Chelmsford Business Partnerships, which is another story. Come on to that in a bit. And another one, it's another virtual group called the Wow Web. It's run by a lady out of Clacton, and she's got people signing up to her thing internationally. There's people throughout Europe. There's someone from the States that's joined, a couple of people from Africa that's joined. Virtual networking has really opened up the world. I really can't see it completely stopping.
No, I agree. I think it's either hyper local or hyper global, isn't it? Sort of that sort of thing. And is it wrapped around a particular niche that's networking, or is it just open to anybody?
The Wow Web is open to anybody, but it's a subscription service. You pay, or let me get Nadine's costs right now. I think it's that the current subscription is £17.50 a month, and you get a midday and an evening networking every week that you can go to. There's a co-working session once a week. And there's other bits and pieces that she kind of throws in. She does like you have done, Chris, the interviews for certain members, and that all comes as part of your monthly subscription. So good. It's good. And yeah, at the partnerships, we've been doing fantastically. We've got 40 members now, and we've only had memberships open about 6 weeks. So we're going great guns. We're sending out new application forms every day, but from what we're hearing from the people that I speak to, and because we're doing so much admin, the penalty is some of the things that we wanted to get done and dusted, like finalising at least the structure of the education programme, has kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. But I picked that up again this week. And I'll be talking with Sally about finalising those parts of it. And some of them are going to be just a half hour, 45-minute slots. Some of them could be even, as a marketing 101 course, that could be like a full half-day face-to-face workshop. So there's going to be complete range of stuff available.
Okay, and the other thing I noticed you were doing, because one of the things we did this week was a webinar with Sharon Brower, who's of the HMB community, and it went really, really well.
It did.
So you've got one coming up with Sharon. Do you want to give that a little plug?
Yeah, that's about the things to consider when starting off in the world of business. I don't know if you can remember that far back, Chris, but if you...
I'm not that old, Ian.
No, but you've been going for 12 years, mate. That's a long time.
Well, yeah. I mean, clearly I was still in short trousers when we started. I mean, it's
absolutely. But it's like, if you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently?
Yeah.
And how much better off you can be when you've got a little bit of information behind you.
That question is a powerful one. If you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently? Yeah, really good. What would you do differently?
I think, I mean, I love my time with ProActions, but I actually think probably that would be the thing that I wouldn't have done. I was gaining momentum on my own, and the reason why I left in the end, it wasn't because I was dissatisfied with them. They're a great bunch of guys. But people were saying to me, Ian, who are you?
Yeah.
You've lost your identity. So that's why I came out. It's why I started looking at the website. I wanted to change it. And it gives me my own identity back.
Yeah. You've got your own unique proposition.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Amazing, good stuff. Just want to say a quick hello to Carol, who's watching live. If you're also watching live, please do give us a shout out and please get involved in the debate on the Facebook group. We love a bit of that. I'll try and keep an eye on the comments so that we're highlighting what's going on. I've got that up. But let's talk to Julie Bell. Julie, how are you?
I'm good now, like I was before.
Good. I don't know why I asked that. That was the second time I asked that. Tell me about what's going on business-wise.
What's going on business-wise? Well, today I've had a very long meeting with they call them differently now, a local director of Metro Bank. Yeah. Now, I'm a bit of a Metro Bank virgin. I don't know a lot about them. I do now.
Who's your guy?
It's a lady called Rebecca Bolton.
Okay.
Really, really lovely. And she is keen to work alongside us. So put on a network event so that Mark can go over there, do his 10, 15 minutes, and then network so that people can go and have a chat with him. So I'm going to meet her in person. So that's another face-to-face.
Yay! Coming back.
I must just tell you, I was so excited yesterday. I went to Upminster and had a one-to-one in Costa with Kevin.
Amazing. Well, we've had a one-to-one this. We had a one-to-one this week, but he took me walking in the park. I mean, it was it was romantic, Kev. I've got to say that. It was
boring that first time I ran a lake, mate.
Yeah, I should have brought my trainers though, mate. That's the thing. I should have had a little jog round, really.
Oh, Kevin, I'm upset. I obviously wasn't.
Sorry, Judy, next time, I would know all seven. We'll walk around the hotel there.
I mean, look, Judy, don't be too upset. He only tried to hold my hand twice. So it wasn't too romantic. And he didn't bring me flowers either. So I
got a brochure.
Well, he didn't bring a brochure to the park, Julie. So it would have killed the buzz, clearly. This has gone off on a tangent again. Why does this happen? Right. Talk to me. All right. Okay. No, two questions then.
Right.
Number one, when are you coming over to my office for a coffee?
I'll liaise with Russell and I'll get it booked in.
Perfect. Number two, when are these networking events starting to happen?
Right, well, the ones that we're doing online, the first one is on the 13th of May, which is for mortgage advisors, who I've been finding out a lot about and their characteristics and how they perceive themselves to be wonderful. So we're holding a webinar for them. And the following one is for accountants.
Right. Okay, now I saw your video on mortgage advisors, but I wanted to ask you a question on that. Who? Because I wasn't clear about who was speaking on the event. So who have you got? Who's the mortgage person?
The mortgage guru is Paul Flavin.
Paul, yeah, I know Paul.
Under the Action Coach umbrella, he's number 19th globally. So he has come on board very, very quickly and done phenomenally well. So, and he has also bought and sold for mortgage companies.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And he also, in the last couple, he implemented this system, this online system that is like a tick box culture, if you like.
Yeah.
So that there's no reason why the customer service can't be top notch. Everything cannot be top notch.
Yeah, I mean, Paul's insight into systems and processes was amazing. Really, really good. I got a lot out of it. So yeah,
it does blow me away. But the fact is the talks he's given through all the other Action Coach franchises and channels has just, you know, put him up there really. And when the figures came out, I couldn't believe it either.
Yeah. What's it based on? When they rank the coaches, what do they base it on? Is it revenue? Is it number of, you know, how does it work?
Yeah, some of it's on revenue, but it's also on their performance.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you say, what Paul doesn't really know about implementing systems.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's often the missing piece, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? That element of like just organisation is often the bit that we that we get wrong.
I mean, he's won so many awards really for customer service.
Yeah.
You know, his attitude was, if the customer has to phone us, we failed. Yeah,
and I like that. I've said that to the guys in my office actually. Yeah. So yeah, it's been really useful. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Judy. Really appreciate that. And Kevin, talk to me about what's going on in your world work-wise.
Well, I've had a superb network meeting tonight with Julie and yourself, mate, over coffee. So we've compared the coffee of Costa and Umping, so with sirens going on every 2 minutes, which I couldn't believe, and a coffee down on Harold's Lake. But
it was nice.
From that and in between, a lot of inquiries. We're getting very much kind of on the remortgage side of lifetime mortgage, which we won't really cover today, but that is starting to be a switch service. So that's coming interestingly, but offer new scenarios. And what's really getting interesting is more high net worth clients and more difficult, where you're working much closer with solicitors and accountants. And that's coming into a different area, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our work is partnership work. You know, it's working with other professionals to make sure you're collaborating to solve a client's problems. Yeah. I enjoy that work. How do you feel about it?
Interesting, worthwhile, and it's testing the brain again.
Yeah,
and it is getting some nooks and crannies of lenders to what they will lend on, not just a normal scenario, which is good. Yeah, we've got a surveyor from Aviva we're speaking to on Monday morning, so it's really getting there. So you get even more of a specialist within a specialist situation.
Great stuff. And did you want to, because I know you're our profile member of the week this week, do you want to share your screen, or have you got a presentation? How do you want to do it?
I shall share my screen as Russell has set it up. Hopefully it should be there.
That's why I don't need to worry, Kev, because he's just a bit of a legend, Russ.
Well, he's got more texture than me and you put together, mate. So he's helpful.
Too true.
Right, I'm not quite sure why we've gone straight to the back, so I do apologise. So let's see how we can get out of that. Let me stop sharing.
I've got to say, while you're setting that up, Kev, we did get schooled a bit by Josh this week. So we did a webinar with Sharon. And Josh, who's Sharon's son, we learned quite a lot, Russ, didn't we, about how to do webinars well?
Yeah, it was very informative.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, we'll let Kev go.
Okay, we've got some training there. This is basically an introduction to what later life lending is. So it's a very high overview, but really just to bring up something more than what you can explain in 1 minute, 30 seconds with networking. My background, as you heard earlier, is many years in later life lending. The big change came in June when I've set up my own business now to go alongside, and we're very much into different types of lending that's available and different options. There are 4 examples today, but we can go into much more if people want to come back. I'm happy to do that. So our company's Later Life Lending Solutions. That's run by myself and my business partner, Richard, and we're both experienced. We have 6 consultants working with us, and we basically cover an area from Kingsley down to Exeter in Devon, 26. We can cover you in the southeast and down to the southwest with East Anglia in between. Now, Exeter Easy is very often confused with a interest in the history, but what it actually is. In plain English, it is a mortgage. It is a mortgage with a guarantee that the person or persons live in the property, second death or second need for long-term care. And it's a fixed rate mortgage with interest rates starting from about 2.8%. So that can be a fixed rate over 20, 25 years to 30 years plus. So it's good news is it's aimed at people over 55. So that could be for somebody for yourselves, could be for your parents, could be for your friends. But if you qualify, this is the area we're going to. Coming on the back of other mortgages and completing the problems of interest-only mortgage, etc., and still leave you in your property. So if you qualify, money is tax-free. It is a tax-free lump sum. It is purely based on you and the actual property value. There's no income checks. There's no situations of multiples of income, etc. So it's much more straightforward situation. You do all the full credit searches, and as part of the process, it is a 2-meeting or 3-meeting where we go for income and expenditure. But your mortgage is not met on your income. It's a regulated product by the FCA. Now, the types of properties you can do this on, mainly is residential property, but there is also a buy-to-let portfolio, which is a interesting scenario. This is where if you are somebody with a buy-to-let property and you want to access capital, the actual lifetime mortgage way of bringing money out, I mean, it's tax-free. We will save capital gains tax for you. That is the advantage of buy-to-let. On the residential, we're obviously saving you more inheritance tax and giving you the options to help your family and solve your debt problems. Case studies we go on to. Just confirming, fixed rate and secure tenure. No other mortgage will provide that for you. The guarantee is with a solicitor. We'll go through it. It's part of the combination working together. It's all legal by English law, and you have your property to stay in for the rest of your life. If you want to move upwards, downwards, or sideways, we can transfer the mortgage for you. But it is a guarantee that you'll always have a roof over your head. So it's full ownership, fully portable, and no net to exit guarantee. So no debt left to your siblings if the house market crashes. Look at the situation at the moment. We've gone through COVID and we're looking at record house growth, completely against what you would think. But you're in that situation. If you do have a crash and you had more borrowing than you had property value, the lender is liable for that gap yourselves. So these don't go into the 3 or 4 case studies and different examples we have for you. On a debt situation, the most common reason we've called in by solicitors, by accountants, by other professional IFAs is interest-only mortgages. A lot of people have been able to buy their properties back 25, 30 years back with an interest-only mortgage. You've enjoyed the benefit of low interest. There seems to be a relaxation that the lender will not come and ask for the money at the end of the day in some situations. I'm afraid they will. And when that day comes, it may be a situation where you as an individual, income is reduced, savings you may not save, or what you have saved is not sufficient. So you're in a position, what can I do? This is the alternative for using a lifetime mortgage. You're having to move. More cost effective, you own your own property, you only have one solicitor, and you have meetings with ourselves. Instead of having to go through a sales process, which can be forced, or for yourself, moving out an area which you may not want to do. We report and we provide security and peace of mind platform for the sound decisions. The second area where we look at is inheritance tax planning. Completely different side. This is where if you have a property, our properties vary in the area we're going. We're dealing with properties from, on average, properties from 300,000 to properties in excess of £3.5–4 million. So on the higher end of it, inheritance tax planning has been a tax-free lump sum, and that this can come out after 7 years your estate, working with your independent advisor, wealth manager, a very tax-efficient way we can provide for you. You have the option, all lifetime mortgages can be paid or not paid. With joint advice, we see what's most appropriate, but the compound interest at a reasonable interest rate can reduce your estate. So really on inheritance tax, choice is, would you like to pay the tax man, or would you like your families to benefit? This is where lifetime mortgages can come in. It's exchanging your value within your bricks or the opportunity to have capital for your family. Happy to take any questions as we go along, or questions at the end. I've said that at the start. Third situation is gifting to children. Spoken to many people, we're in a situation where we're a generation where people 45, 50 plus have been in a situation where the property values have increased quickly and over time have increased at speed, giving us benefit. What was against us was very high interest rate. We're now in a situation of very low interest, reasonable growth. Helping your children to the actual housing ladder is a way of gifting from your own property. Your benefit to you would be to reduce their interest rate down to 75%, would make a significant difference against 95% or 100%. The other areas where we've found people want to gift children is to reduce the family debt, school fees, and see the benefit of gifts grown in different ways. It's alongside inheritance tax planning, alongside the niceties in life, that gifting can be very rewarding. Coming back to you as an individual or you as a couple, lifetime mortgage can be a way of coming to you as a lump sum or drawdown. The benefit of drawdowns when you align it alongside your pension. If the situation is that your pension income is not as sufficient as you expected, you hoped, or your lump sum's not grown, you can use the money from your house in a way of subsidising that income on a yearly basis, 6 monthly, bi-yearly. You have complete flexibility. Every drawdown we use as a fixed interest rate. You exactly know where you stand. So the tax benefits are excellent. You've got the flexibility, and you're in a position that you're pre-retirement, it can be used to fund pension contributions. You can go back and use your carry forward, which is 3 years of unused allowances to top up into a single situation. So it's a situation before retirement, at retirement, and in late retirement. Another area where we can supplement income if at late stage of life that you need it for care. Care in your home. It's a way of giving you back the comfort and the pleasure in your home at a time when you need some assistance. So that's why we could use the supplement income for you. That's my brief introduction to lifetime lending. What we're happy to do is take any questions at this stage or any further side of it. You have my personal contact details within the webinar here, and I'm happy to send out any information you wish to in the future. Any questions?
Yeah, Kevin, quick one from me. I mean, because you've been in this space for so long, you've probably seen some fundamental change in terms of not that long. I mean, clearly, I'm not saying you're old, mate.
Chris, I'm saying that prehistoric, yeah.
But because you've had expertise in this market for a little while, what changes have been most prevalent over the past 5 or 6 years, and how has the market adapted?
Okay, over the last 5 and 6 years, you've had serious lenders coming into the market. All lenders tend to be major insurance companies. So you've got people like Rovsey, you've got LV, Legal and General, Aviva. All these companies give you peace of mind. They've brought in competition, and with a gilt reducing, interest rates reducing, that's enabled the flexibility of fixed rates at a competitive interest rate. But if you go back 6, 8 years ago, the interest rates were higher, 67%. Now we're talking from 2.8% fixed. We are on now a standard of normal mortgages, fixed rate, but with the flexibility that now fixed its lifetime rather than 5 years or 3 years.
And then I suppose my next question is, who isn't a lifetime mortgage or equity release right for?
Who isn't? You've got to look at the situation where the person lives in a non-standard property. If the person has sufficient income and sufficient savings, they don't need it now, they may need it later on. So you have a 35, 40-year span. My oldest client had it for 6 years for 24-hour care in St John's Wood. She'd passed away at 103. Her son was 82. Retired solicitor, saw the opportunity of the problem of caring. She did not want to move out the flat. That is where it's on there. So what you've got to do, by the fact find meetings, by the actual meetings, not every client is suitable.
Yeah.
What we will say is wait, maybe more suitable in the future, but not now. But if we can help you, we will explain it through and fully.
And then I suppose the other element is, you know, the potential for borrowing increases as you get older. Is that correct?
That's correct. The actual age range starts at 55. You go up to, like we said, 90 plus. And at age 60, you're looking at being able to borrow about 20 to 25%. Age 65, about 30, 70, 35, up to 75 to 80, where it goes up to 45, 54%. There's 3 types of lifetime mortgages. One is where you pay no interest. 2 is where you pay interest in service loan, voluntary payments, and not mandatory. That's where the client has a choice. And the third one is based on health. So we actually go through health, and only 3 or 4 lenders will offer this. But with an enhanced health side, you have the situation that if you are unfortunately suffering poor health or have chronic conditions, that will actually improve opportunities for you. So they will look at all opportunities in that way, similar to enhanced annuities.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, I don't want to get too financially geeky about this, but annuities, I don't know if you found it, Fiona, but annuities have decreased in popularity since 2015. And the majority of work we do with our clients, and we always do an annuity comparison. For anybody watching who doesn't know what an annuity is, it's an income for life that you buy, and then it's guaranteed to pay out for the remainder of your life. Annuities haven't been particularly competitive over the past 10, 5, 6 years because of the fact that you've got interest rates being low and life expectancy growing, so that they've reduced in popularity. But I'm doing a body of work for one of my clients at the minute who has had some health issues, and the reality of that is because they've had some health issues, an annuity might be the way to go. So always check your health and make sure that it's working in your favour. Because if you're taking out life cover and your health's not great, it's going to cost you more. But make sure you get the benefit of it at the end if you're looking at the things you can do to generate more income in retirement. So yeah, it's good. Fiona, did you have any questions for Kevin?
Just in terms of my observations about equity release over the years, because as everybody knows probably now, I was in legal services for decades, and in the 90s I represented an old geezer who had been subject to, for want of a better word, an equity release advisor, but they weren't, they were crooks. They'd basically bought his home for very little and rented it back to him on an assured short hold tenancy, and he was just about to be made homeless, which was just absolutely awful for him. And he got 10 grand, I think, or 12 grand or something for a home that was in the West End. I mean, he'd really been taken the piss out of, excuse my language. And from that kind of advisor to what equity release advisors are now is just like a million miles away. So they're very highly regulated. They've got to take their exams, etc. There's the Equity Release Council, and so for me it's a no-brainer. If I see somebody who fits for that in terms of inheritance tax, help, or somebody who just wants adventure before dementia, as I call it. You know, they're just ideal clients for equity release.
And there's a really, I mean, certainly our approach to financial planning is money is a tool to live the life you want, right?
Yeah, totally.
And if you're in a position where you've got money tied up in assets that you're not going to use, why not start to enjoy that, taking into account all of the other hope streams and aspirations somebody's got.
Absolutely.
So it's potentially using that tool. But the other way we've used the tool with our clients, and again, it's rare that our clients use equity release because they tend to be asset rich, but is when they've got a traditional mortgage but reached an age where the traditional lenders come knocking on the door. And help me understand a little bit about how that works in your world, Kev.
Situation on this, Chris, and the cases I've been to court, I've been recommended by a judge a couple of times. I had no affiliation for it, but the worst one was the property in Billericay. Property was worth about £550,000. It only had a £12,000 mortgage from Nationwide. Nationwide, this was about 2 or 3 years ago, didn't have the lifetime mortgage option at that time, but they were foreclosing on a client for such a little amount of money, which was ridiculous. We fortunately got involved and we were able to hit the client in the property within 5 weeks. And the interest rate was very similar. It's just fixed rate. They have peace of mind. They could have been homeless in a situation of that. So you've got, like we've always said, you've got a plan for life or whatever, but there is a solution to a problem. Interest only mortgage problem will still continue. In the moment, for the next 10, 15 years, that is a problem we can solve. And hopefully won't get to that stage. What I normally say, within 2 years before the end of contract is when the person starts getting the letters, start talking to us with plenty of time.
And then I suppose the other point Fiona was making, which is a completely fair one, is how do you differentiate between good quality advisors and poor quality advisors in your space?
Right. The important thing is always to look at Equity Release Council. That's our professional body. We're regulated by the FCA. You have the professional body of the Equity Release Council. You also have the Society of Mortgage Professionals, which I'm a member of, and the Personal Finance Society. So you have the qualifications, the authority behind it. Any solicitor or advisor who's been a member of Equity Release Council has been checked out. It has been agreed that standards are there. Yes, it's a bit like going back to the 80s and 90s. We all have shocking memories of the 80s and 90s. Some decent music, but some hairstyles and some problems. That is where at the start we'd come back and said that actual fibre we got involved with Aviva back in '98, first major insurance company, turned it into a regulated industry from approximately 2000.
I mean, I suppose the challenge you've got, and it happens now. I mean, it's probably, I suppose the challenge you've got with regulation is there's the dodgiest people are always going to carry on and go under the radar. And that's why we're massive advocates of people checking out who you're getting advice from, and doing their own due diligence. I mean, it got to a point where at Savello we produced a due diligence pack to give to people to say, look, if you want to check us out, this is where you do it, and this is how. Talk to me a little bit about timescales. If somebody did want to talk to you about doing this, how long would it take to get them to the point where they could potentially use the money?
Okay, you would normally look at that 8-week window. You have a first meeting, then we ask reasonable leave 7 to 10 days between meetings. People reflect. Please speak to the family, involve the family. Yes, the client makes the final decision. Depending on the stage, age range, whatever. Anyone over 75, we always ask for families to attend. Client can accept or decline, but at the end of the day, it is the client making the decision. The family are there as observers. Another pair of ears to listen is very important. one valuation after the meetings and offer, which would normally come a week or so after. So you expect now that within 6 to 8 weeks, you'll be receiving the sum of money from the solicitor with fees all paid and clean into your bank.
And then the drawdown scheme, how does that work?
The drawdown is like an overdraft in reserve.
Yeah.
You have a situation where you have several £1,000s in reserve, depending on person's circumstance, and you can draw down from minimum amounts £2,000 at a time, up to maximum. Each time you draw down, you'll be made aware of what your fixed rate is, and from that fixed rate situation, you'll go forward having loans A, B, and C. Next stage now we're starting to see is the switching of lifetime mortgages. After a 5-year period, you've had lots of changes in the interest rates at the moment, always important to review it. It's a long-term loan, but like any mortgages, always review. Review is important.
Yeah, cool. Great stuff. Thank you, Kevin. Any questions? We've had a few people leave us. Clearly, we were carrying on too long on this meeting. But Fiona, any extra questions for Kevin?
Just in terms of, I think, you know, that mostly the people you're going to be dealing with are over a certain age. What age or what point do you say, I need the family there, not just to get a second opinion, but because this client's really vulnerable?
Right, vulnerability is something we take to a very high standard. We do a lot of training on it, etc. And you have to look at what we would say, and you have to expect different types of people. But as a rule, clients from 75 onwards, saying that even clients of 55 and 60, depending on their health status, different levels of understanding, any family can be invited for the meeting. Always make that aware. But you also have to get a balance on that side. And with vulnerability trained, with dementia friends trained, etc., we can recognise it. In the severest cases, I would ask for a solicitor to be in attendance, or for clarification from a doctor. It is service at the right time and to be able to be understood. Very important way. It's always that legal advice is here as a second opinion and also as a way of checking someone's health and understanding.
So important, isn't it? Because so many people out there get, you know, terribly scammed.
Most definitely. I think you've come across, you've got to be a human being, you've got to show honesty, but with professionalism as well.
Yeah, very much so. And I think family members, you know, if they've got an inkling there, you know, the person who's going to be applying for the equity release is, you know, in the slightest bit vulnerable, they're going to be there, aren't they? They're going to be sitting in the appointment.
They're on time. If they're not, we're there, we stop the meeting. I've stopped meetings before within the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, so
not take any further.
Know,
we're not comfortable. Please, let's just arrange you have some person there. Just know it's about, at the end of the day, we're doing a business. We want to be fair. We want to be straight.
I mean,
we do not want to take advantage.
I mean, that's why I think it's so important to have professional partners you can trust to look after your clients, because, you know, this, you know, being in a situation where you've got professional partners you trust and are going to do the right thing for the client is key, isn't it? You know, it's you don't want anybody to commit something that longer term isn't going to be right for them. It's just that's the way to go. Yeah,
definitely. And I think I was just also going to mention something that came in my brain and then floated all the way out again. But in terms of, no, it's gone again. Move on. This happens to me all the time.
It'll come back. It'll definitely come back. Okay, cool, good stuff. Well, I've got no other questions. If Fiona, when we're just doing Winter of the Week, ask another question, we'll go back to it. But a couple of announcements. Well, I'm sure that in the next 2 minutes, Fiona's going to think about that thing. Two things that I want to mention. Number one is our next event is called Hello Havering. It's on the 7th of May 2021. Start at 10, between 10 and 12. It's a free event for everybody. You don't need to be a premium member to come along. We've already got a really, really decent turnout to that event, and we're expecting it to be super, super busy, which I know is giving Russ grey hairs already. But yeah, please do book in. We'll make sure the link's on the website. That's going to be a really, really interesting event. We're going to be talking at Havering Means Business about how we think Havering Means Business is going to develop over the next year, and what we're going to be doing to support that, and to support the businesses who are members. So certainly, if you're a Havering business owner, definitely worth coming along for that. And it gives you an opportunity to promote your business to both the people in the room and everybody in the group, because as you know, if you're watching this, our meetings go out live on the group as well. So really, really worth coming along to that. And then our next Havering Friday meeting, going back to our morning commute and does lunch, is a Havering Means Business does lunch event. Guest speaker is some bloke called Chris Ames. So nobody's going to turn up to that one, clearly. And what I'm going to be doing is sharing some insights in terms of helping you work out what is enough from a financial independence perspective, working out where you are now, and helping you have some tools, some ready reckoner tools to work out what the gap might be. But I'm interested in hearing from the community about topics that you might want me to cover, and I will happily throw them into the presentation as well. On that note, Fiona, tell me your win of the week is that you've remembered your question.
I haven't remembered it.
Okay, so what's your big win of the week?
Win of the week, I got my pathway weeded this week and I didn't do it. Yeah, it's brilliant. just don't have the time, you know. I don't have the time to weed.
But
so,
you know what? I had to sort of, and this was a few years ago now, but I had to sort of get over myself a bit about like paying people to do jobs.
Oh, it's
do you know what I mean?
I love
it's
it.
Like I always go back to a bit of working class guilt when it's like doing that sort of stuff.
I know what you mean. I do.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah,
but it is, especially when you're thinking, right, well, I'm doing something productive, he's doing something productive,
and you're giving somebody a job, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Location is excellent. Decoration, cleaning, maintenance.
Yeah,
it's not worth dabbling.
I don't, mate. I don't, because I'm no good at it.
I can't receive
I'm getting a
haircut
mate. Tonight, by the way.
Oh, haircut as well. Amazing work.
Yeah,
amazing
getting a haircut because I'm like Rapunzel now.
Yeah, that was my big win of last week. Kevin, what's been your big win of the week, mate?
Good win of the week, mate. They all do some good exercise in the sunshine. So it's nice to be getting back to normality.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for everybody who's watching live and who attended the meeting. Have a lovely remainder of Friday. Have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you on the community soon. See you later. Bye.
See ya.
Bye for now. Cheers.
Bye.